गुड मॉर्निंग फ्रेंड्स दोस्तों गुड मॉर्निंग। बहुत अच्छा टेम्परेचर है एंड मौसम है एंड आई एम गोइंग टू टॉक टू यू on a very important topic concerning India. In fact, I'm going to talk about India and Donald Trump. एक बात याद रखिए, see, once Donald Trump came to power, there was a lot of euphoria in India, a lot of happiness that our man has come into power. This was on the basis of the old statements which Donald Trump had been making, both when he was out as president and when he was president in the earlier term. India thought we're going to have a wonderful relationship with America on India's terms. Now, one must remember that this was very naive thinking. Naive thinking in the sense there's no reality in it. Because one thing is very clear that Donald Trump stands for America, he doesn't stand for India. So when he came to power, there was a lot of harsh facts and some truths which came over to the Indians. Firstly, he did something which Indians never expected. He decided to give $397 million to Pakistan to upgrade their F-16 fleet. They said it's to be used against terrorists, but I think, and everyone knows correctly, that Pakistan is going to use them against India. And even Donald Trump knows it. Then Donald Trump had made a statement in Parliament that the Hindus didn't have a better friend than him in the White House. That was after the massacres of the Hindus in Bangladesh. But when he came to power, I don't think he's done anything, and he made a statement that he'd left the Bangladesh problem to Modi. But as I've already been pointing out, Modi can roar. He can't bite. I repeat, he can roar, he can't bite. And he should have taken that cue from Donald Trump, an actor in Bangladesh, but he did nothing. He was waiting for Donald Trump to do something. And when Donald Trump has said, let Modi do it, Modi should have reinstated Hasina, he did nothing. Or whatever he was doing was inconsequential. Then the Indians expected to get a waiver like they got last time on the Chabahar port. Now, India spent billions of dollars on this Chabahar port, and the Indians thought they got a wonderful gateway to Central Asia which would bypass Pakistan. But now Donald Trump has ramped up the pressure on Iran. The sanctions have been enforced, and we do not know when Donald Trump will decide to launch an attack on Iran to finish off their nuclear installations. In that case, what's going to happen? The Chabahar port will become a zero, and India is going to lose all its money. So it is hoping that Donald Trump will continue the waiver, but every day is not Sunday, and what was that time in the first January doesn't mean it carries into perpetuity. Then the question of arms. This time, Donald Trump has made it clear that you must not get arms from Russia. In the previous turn, he had allowed it, but this time he is ready to give the latest weapons to India, including the F-35. Mind you, the F-35 has not been given to Turkey and so many of the allies of America, but Donald Trump, in a public conference, said he had offered the F-35 to India. But the Indians haven't yet accepted it, neither rejected it, and they're thinking what the hell is going to be done. So that's indecisiveness. Another thing is tariffs. Now, India was thinking that, well, there would be the same old story. Indians will continue having tariffs on the Americans, American cars, 100% duty, and America would continue, and the trade balance would be in favor of India. As I just said, every day is not Sunday, and this time Donald Trump has started a trade war, not only against India, against anybody who has opposed America and doesn't give reciprocity as far as trade is concerned. So America has come out, or rather Donald has come out with a theory that India will have to bear the same tariffs which they are putting on the Americans. I don't know how the Indians could have thought, they were dancing around and they'll be able to get out of America and get away with the tariffs. I give you an example. The Indians are basically, in my opinion, I should be saying I'm an Indian elite, they lack strategic sense, whether it's Nehru or Shastri or anybody else or Modi now. I think the only man who had some strategic sense, and I must state it here, was Rajiv Gandhi. He did something which no Indian Prime Minister has ever done, and let me correlate it. He sent the Indian peacekeeping force under General Harkirat Singh, Major General Harkirat Singh was the commander of the IPKF into Sri Lanka. And they beat the hell out of the LTT and Prabhakar and all those cronies, of his, till they were withdrawn after Rajiv Gandhi had left. That's one. Rajiv Gandhi also mounted an assault, an airborne assault from Agra, where the big birds, the IL-76 flew with troops to Trivandrum and then on to Mali to restore the government of President Gyam there, which was under threat. That's a credit to Rajiv Gandhi that he could think in the strategic sense and make things. Where here, it's entirely different thing. Modi knew there was a destruction going to come up in Bangladesh, but he said he was haunches. And perhaps the Indian intelligence didn't know the intensity of the offensive which was going to come in Bangladesh. And Bangladesh, immediately after Hasina was overthrown, put the hand of friendship to Pakistan, India's enemy. And there also he was found wanting. He was trying to placate Bangladesh. I mean, you don't make politics by placating. You have to make politics by showing the iron fist. They didn't do that. Allowed the electricity to flow from Nepal to Bangladesh to the Indian grid. I mean, it's so silly. Gave thousands of tons of rice to Bangladesh. And the whole idea was to placate. And even when Muhammad Yunus took oath of office as the interim leader of Bangladesh, a letter of congratulations was sent. What the hell is happening? You've got to have your sights clear. And the tariffs, how India could get away with it. They were paying 100% tariffs on American cars and motorcycles. But then they were wanting. I couldn't understand what the reason to have 100% tariff on, say, Harley Davidson. And after the Americans gave the bamboo, rather Donald Trump gave the bamboo, they reduced it 30%. I'll give you an example what the Chinese do. I was in Dubai and I saw some of the latest cars which the Chinese are marketing in the UAE. Indians are not allowing them to be marketed in India. I couldn't understand why. Why should we be scared of Chinese products? The aim should be to match China and make a better product instead of saying, oh, let your products come and, the old fossies like Mahindra and Tata continue making some inefficient cars which can't be sold. Anyway, I don't think they are able to sell even one car in Dubai or say Hong Kong or somewhere. They can't sell a single car because the product is inferior to what the Chinese are sending across, and Chinese cars are selling globally. That's the difference. Well, talking of Harley Davidson, what the Indians should have done, they should allow the bike to come into India with 0% duty. At the same time, dismantled the bike and made an Indian bike, copy. That is what the Chinese do. They copy their plane. They have copied the Rolls Royce. They have copied luxury cars. They have copied the J-35 fighter. I mean, that's a credit to the Chinese. I bought I think a few days back, an Apple laptop, the MacBook Pro. In India, it costs about 1,70,000 rupees. A very costly bike, but when I opened at the back and had a look, it was said made in China. I mean, I was really surprised. Apple making the products in China. And even now, the biggest products, the biggest factory they have is in China. So some of the products they are making in India. And in India, there's a lot of problem here. Labor problem, this problem, that problem. And Apple is not very happy. Now, India just gets about 1/10 of the FDA with the China gets. That is, the FDI, the foreign direct investment. And in place, if China gets 100 billion, we just get 10 billion. And that's the ratio which we're having. China is grown up and becomes, by their antics, by their technology, by their genius, the second biggest economy in the world, and the per capita income is 6 times that of India. I mean, and here the Indians are sitting only and putting tariffs so that our products can sell at least in India. You can't dominate the world with that philosophy. And Donald Trump has now given the bamboo, and the bamboo is that you reduce your tariffs, or you're going to put the same tariffs on your goods, and yes, now the Indian goods will sell in America after that. So India has reduced, I think they're going, but they haven't gone the whole hog. So as I'm telling you, India thought they were living in a rosy world of their own, and America and Donald Trump were their friend. Yes, he's not the enemy of India, but remember, he believes in America. We need Indian leadership which believes in India. We don't want the leadership which is thinking that we sit with folded hands in front of America and America will help us, on the tariffs, they'll help us on Kashmir, they'll help on Bangladesh. America will do nothing for India which doesn't suit the American interest. And another thing which I have been observing is the Indian leadership, it's not something which is new. It's from the time of Nehru that you keep sitting on the fence, thinking that you can placate everybody. Ultimately, a time may come when you may have no friends at all. You know of the boy, who cried wolf, wolf every time, and when the real wolf came, he cried wolf and the wolf ate him up. So, gentlemen, this is a very, very sad occurrence I'm talking about, that the Indian political leadership has failed. They couldn't make a clone of anything which they should have done. I mean, it's not a difficult thing to make an Indian car. The Ford cars were coming in India. Ford has gone out. Get hold of the Endeavour and other vehicles, strip them down and make the Indian cars. Why can't we do it? Chinese do it. And nobody says anything to the Chinese. We didn't say anything to them. The Chinese have done things which the Indians cannot dream of doing. They have Islamized the Quran. They have changed the architecture of the mosques. Those 4 minarets have gone and no Chinese, no Muslim country has been able to say anything. In the Xinjiang province, where most of the Muslims of China live, that is the Uyghurs, they are banned from fasting during the Ramzan, number one. They can't wear the burqa. And all Islamic personal law has been put in the cold storage in the box. India couldn't do it. Because here, it's a different ball game. Basically, it's a Hindu character. Now, I was watching other day, just digressing a little, the film Aurangzeb. I think he was a very cruel man. There's no doubt about it. He killed his brothers, Murad, Dara Shikoh, beheaded them, blinded them. He did the same to his enemies. But there's a very nice movie which has come, Shambhuji, which is the son of Shivaji, and an attempt is being made to say that he was the equal of Aurangzeb. I don't think he was the equal of Aurangzeb in nowhere. Aurangzeb was the Shahanshah of India. He ruled all the way from Samarkand, Kabul to Mysore, and from Sindh to Bengal, while this gentleman, Shambhuji, was just moving around in about 4 or 5 districts of Maharashtra like Raigad and other places. He was a very brave man, a very wonderful chap, but there has to be some realism in history. Aurangzeb has got to be dealt in a different manner, and we have to realize that the Hindus at that time constituted a big factor in Aurangzeb's atrocities. I think his generals, if I remember correctly, Raja Jai Singh, they were Hindus. And it was Jai Singh who defeated Shivaji in the Battle of Surat. So there were a lot of Hindus working with it because the Hindus have the character of saying Ji Huzur all the time. And I couldn't understand when the Mughals in India were just about 100,000 here, how a population about that time, about 25 million, 250 million, couldn't overthrow the uh, the Turks or the people the Muslims would come all the way from Central Asia. So these are just points, and thus things has continued here. Gandhi and Nehru, I think they let the country down. There was a renaissance. It should have happened under Gandhi and Nehru, but it didn't happen, and it has left Narendra Modi to it. And now Modi has his limitations. I mean, he has been in power for 11 years, but I don't think there's much to show for what he's done. Yes, the economy has improved, but then our comparisons are with China. We can't start comparing ourselves with Pakistan and say we're better than Pakistan. That's not the way, or we are better than Bangladesh. That's also not the way. In any case, the Indian economy is just a little ahead per capita income of Pakistan. I don't think so. They are ahead of Bangladesh. I think they're a little behind Bangladesh. So, where are we going? The first thing should have been to remove the tariffs, and you'll have to do it now. There's no choice. Otherwise, India will be isolated. And thinking that they're going to be friends with Russia, Russia is going to back them, I don't think so. If you remember in the 1962 war, before Mao Zedong launched the invasion, it's a known fact that he briefed Nikita Khrushchev, first secretary of the Communist Party in Russia. He said, I'm going to attack Nehru because Nehru is getting too big for his boots. And it's Nikita Khrushchev who gave the approval for the Chinese attack on India. And India was saying Nikita Khrushchev and the Russians are our great friends. And even the statesmen which should come out would say that China is a brother and India is a friend. I repeat, China is a brother, India is a friend. Who is closer, brother or friend? So the Indian policy is based on quicksand, which is collapsed like a pack of cards. India must look inside, at the same time look outside, know what the dangers are. America will be friends only at their terms because the new marshal in town is Donald Trump and he doesn't go by the old policies. He's already stopped the funding of the NGOs, and a lot of NGOs in India and all over the world are gasping for breath. I really agree with that because there's no point in giving money to people like Palestine or Bangladesh. What the hell were you giving for them? And why should America subsidize the defense of Western Europe or Japan or something like that? Who's going to pay the money for it? Of course, America has got lots of money, but they're running into 3 trillion debt now. And America's got something. They've got to do something about it. So Donald Trump is doing it and he's looking at the American way. And it's not that he's singling out India alone. He's singling out everybody in the world. And because he believes in a different thing, that he must restore the glory of America. That's a good thing from the American point of view, but India has got to realize it. Either you are with the Americans or you are not with the Americans. There's nothing that's sitting on the fence. Times are going to change. And if India puts its eggs in the Russian basket, it's as good as going into the basket and sinking. Russian economy cannot sustain the Indian economy. That's number one. Number two, Russia doesn't have the type of goods which America or China can supply to India. Now look at China. China has captured the Indian market. The other day I had gone to buy a microphone for my recording. So the shopkeeper shows me 3 or 4 models and they were all Chinese, made in China. I don't know why India can't make it. The problem is we don't have the perfection. If you can't copy a Harley Davidson and make one in India, obviously you can't copy even the small things, because you need genius. And more than that, you need guts. You've got to face up to it. The Muslims in India have been a pampered lot, and that since 1947. Why was it done? When the division of the country was on the basis of religion. How come India became a secular republic? India should have become a Hindu Rashtra, though it is a de facto Hindu Rashtra. And India would have been the only Hindu country in the world. There's nothing to feel ashamed about it. There's something to feel a sense of pride. But gentlemen, talking about the policy of looking at what Donald Trump is going to do, Donald Trump is going to look after America only. And you can see that he hasn't made a single statement on Kashmir. He hasn't said that Kashmir is a part of India. He hasn't made a statement on Bangladesh. I haven't yet to see a statement on Bangladesh that he will oust Muhammad Yunus out. He's not doing it. He's not supporting, I think, even the Baluchistan movement. On the top of it is giving Pakistan weaponry. He's offering to India, but that's at a price. Well, Pakistan is getting it free. There's a big difference. If you're going to buy the F-35, you got to dish out $80 to $100 million for each plane. You can see the amount of money which is going into billions of dollars India needs to equip 4 squadrons of these planes and get 100 of them. And then the Make in India, the epithet, that trumpet which has been blown by Modi is actually a big zero. I'll talk about it later. Billions of dollars wasted down the drain in trying to get original research. Original research is not required. Now, I'll give you the idea. The Indian 6th generation fighters like to make an appearance in 2036. That's another 11 years away. What's going to happen? Where's China and America going to go at that time? 2036, you're going to make a plane which is the Americans are using now. And I don't think the one the Indians make it would have the same capability as the F-35. The Russians are better in giving technology, yes. But America will have Russia on its side very shortly because Donald Trump knows what's to be done. While the Indian leadership is always, shifting. They don't know what the hell to do. You got to go on the American bench. And the terrorist organizations like Hamas and Hezbollah are not banned by India. What the hell? Why? Because there's an element of fear. I remember reading Alistair MacLean's famous book, Fear is the Key. And that's about sums up the Indian approach. A psychosis of fear. You don't want to ban Hamas because you enjoy the Muslims, annoy the Muslims. That's not going to happen. If you have your politics based like that, tomorrow Hamas may come into Kashmir. What are they going to do? In fact, I think a few of the Hamas fighters were called in by Pakistan. But then Hamas is so hard-pressed in the Gaza Strip, they don't know what the hell is happening. So coming to it, gentlemen, India needs to revamp its foreign policy, make a more aggressive foreign policy. The only way they can match the Americans and show a thumbs up if you have your own military power. The way you get it is not important. You may cannibalize the American planes and do reverse engineering, you do that way, or you buy it. Well, buying is up to a point, because we must remember no power became a global entity, a global force by importing weapons. You tell me one country, until you have your own guns, own planes. The Chinese have now gone in for the commercial liners. Where's India? I don't think there's one on the board also. So, gentlemen, I think Narendra Modi has his part cut out. The point is, whatever Pandit Nehru did, he put an anchor around the neck of the Indian leadership. But now, 11 years, we expected better from Modi. The Waqf board took 11 years, it hasn't been passed. The personal laws all over the country has not been passed. China did it within 5 minutes. We got to copy something somewhere, and the mentality that you have been 1,000 years saying Ji Huzuri to either the Muslim rulers or the British must be forgotten. Well, gentlemen, I think I'll close. I hope you like my video. Please share it with your friends, and I will say goodbye. God bless and Jai Hind. Thank you.